Okay, we missed last week. Sent out a bunch of notes and stuff to everyone that I work with, but for 24.3, we'll do a quick review. There's some interesting points on this one. Seen some people do it. I did it last night. Yeah, let's just get into it. It's definitely hard. I think that's the theme, that no matter what version you're doing of this workout, whether or not you have bar muscle ups, you're thinking about finishing, you're thinking about getting to the bar muscle ups, how many you're going to get, whatever it is, no matter what variation of that outcome you kind of see yourself doing in this workout, it's going to be hard and difficult. The thrusters aren't going to feel easy. The 50 chest to bar, 50 pull-ups are not going to feel easy. And if they do by some chance, then you need to be conservative. So when we look at this workout, we've essentially got 10 rounds. We've got 85 thrusters and 85 pulling movements that increase in weight and complexity once we get to the halfway point. Halfway point, I guess, like the 2/3 way point rep-wise. You really got to look at yourself and understand your own capacity on the movements. I think for the vast majority of people, the pulling movements and the skill of the bar muscle up are going to be the limiter, not the thruster. If the thruster weight is something that, like 10 unbroken is a difficult set, then there isn't even a question. You're going to break it up. You might even break it up into sets of 3, right? You might go like 4-3-3 or something like that. And that's really not a big deal, because everyone, and I mean everyone, will be stopping on this workout at some point and not moving, right? If you watch the live open announcement, even the highest level athletes, they would do their thrusters and then they're taking like 10, 15, 20 seconds before they're going for a set of bar muscle ups. And in the later rounds, some of them were actually taking like a good 20-second break before finishing a set, right? Like there's just a lot of power output and a lot of accumulated fatigue through the course of the 10 or 15 minutes or however long the workout is going to take you. And so when we appreciate that, we can understand that there is no value in pushing for bigger sets of movements in the beginning of the workout, knowing that we're going to get stopped at some point anyway. So let's kind of work from the top end and come down. If we have the capacity to finish this workout, which would mean we can basically do 7 thrusters and 7 bar muscle ups every 90 seconds for 5 rounds after fatigue, that's kind of hard. Then we're just thinking about like, okay, what kind of fatigue management do I need going into them, right? So just because we can hit that first piece in 3 minutes and 30 seconds or 4 minutes doesn't mean that we need to. Probably not, because we're going to lose that 30 seconds or 60 seconds resting when we get to the more difficult part. We'd be better off going to like 4:30 or 5 minutes or even 5:30, starting that next piece at the 6:30 mark, 6 minute mark, whatever it is. And we've got 9 minutes to finish that last piece. Gives us a pretty good shot at doing it, right? That's higher end capacity. We're talking like RX Plus Elite, obviously quarterfinals, maybe considering semis this year or next year, whatever it is. If we come down a level and we're like, I can do bar muscle ups, I can do thrusters at 135, but I don't know how I'm going to feel when I get there. I don't know how deep I'm going to get in this workout. That's when we need to be a little bit conservative. I've seen a couple of things on the internet about some coaches kind of posting out like time frames. I think the 7 to 9 minute time frame is pretty safe. Maybe a little bit less, but that 7 to 9 minute time frame is pretty safe in terms of if you're getting the first 5 rounds done in that time period, then you have 5, 6, 7 minutes to get the higher skill stuff, to get into the higher skill stuff. How far can you get, sort of thing. There's no value in buying yourself more time by killing yourself in the beginning, because that 1 minute rest really is just a weight plate change. It's really not significant. You're not going to feel recovered by any means. And if you start that second piece with your heart rate at 180, 170 or very high, it's going to slow down very quickly and very substantially. I'm going to be staring at the bar, staring at the rig, doing 1 rep at a time and just not getting any value out of that, okay? If we don't know if we're going to get a bar muscle up, it's like sometimes the skill's there, sometimes it's not. That probably means that 50 chest to bar is a lot of volume. And if 50 chest to bar is a lot of volume, or 50 pull-ups, whatever, if we're in kind of like an older master group, then we need to be very conscious of how we are working through that first part, and anything beyond that, any heavy thruster is a bonus. That's obviously going to be kind of like the RX threshold score is 7 thrusters after the first 5 rounds, right? 7 thrusters at that like heavier bar. If you have 5 minutes or 3 minutes left, you can do 7 thrusters at that heavier weight. Maybe we don't know if we're going to get a bar muscle up, but we're going to try, but that's going to happen in that like 3-minute window. So if the 50 chest to bar is the big limiter, it almost doesn't matter what we do on the thrusters as long as they're not fast. We're not trying to race back to the bar. So I'll use myself as an example. Yesterday, my capacity is very low right now. I was kind of extra tired yesterday. I wasn't really sure how the workout was going to go. I didn't know how it was going to feel. And so I started my chest to bars in 3 sets. I went 4-3-3 3 times, which was too conservative in hindsight, but it just doesn't really matter. And then I think I went 2 sets on the 4th round, and I went unbroken on the last round. I felt pretty good. And so I probably could have gone 2 sets all the way through, or 2 sets for the first 3 rounds and maybe 2 unbroken rounds. Maybe I would have bought myself a little bit more time, whatever, right? If you don't know that capacity, or you know that it's not very big, 2s, 3s, because it's only a set of 10, you can do that here, right? If you can remember last year's open workout, this is a really good comparison. There was 50 toes to bar in the second part of the first workout, right? A 60 cal row, 50 toes to bar. That 50 toes to bar really broke people who didn't have toes to bar. Maybe they could kind of get like 10, but by the time they got to 10, they had 80% of the work left, and it was just destruction, core destruction, lat destruction, kip destruction. Nothing was left, and they had all this work left to do, and now they're just standing around waiting, okay? Because the pull-ups or the chest to bars are broken up this year in sets of 5, you get a forced break. It still doesn't mean we push that much further, but we can probably hang on to 2s and 3s, right? If we're being smart about our sets. Look at the clock, have an idea of what you want your round times to be. If you want to try to finish the first 5 rounds in 10 minutes, that's 2 minutes per round. 10 thrusters at 95-65 or whatever weight you're doing is probably pretty light, right? If we're doing this and thinking about our score. Whether it's 2 sets or it's unbroken, doesn't matter. It's less than 30 seconds. That means you have a minute and a half every round to do 10 chest to bars. If you want to do that in 3 sets, that's 3 reps every 30 seconds. Time yourself. Time yourself in your warm-ups. Time yourself when you're practicing your sets. What does it feel like to sit for 25 seconds? I bet you it's a lot longer than you think. Do not get goaded or baited into going faster or bigger sets than you need to in the first 2 rounds. After the second round, you're going to have a really good idea of what you feel like and what your capacity is going to be like for the day. Okay? I don't know if there's too much else to say. It's, again, the number one theme is it's hard. Anticipate it to be hard. Make your warm-up a little bit harder than you want it to be. Build to a heavy thruster. Maybe even do your thrusters 5 or 10 pounds heavier, just so that when you start the workout, it's not like, oh my God, this is rough, this is bad, because it's gonna suck the life out of you, right? It's 10 rounds or 5 rounds. It's very grindy. There's nowhere to hide. Not like the last workout where you could kind of really coast on the row and it didn't matter so much. It was about keeping your skipping at a good pace. There's nowhere to hide on this one. So we kind of have to keep our intensity and our capacity within reach for our chest to bar pull-ups. We don't want to be either getting no reps or missing reps or just standing around too long because our heart rate got too high. Okay, have some fun with it. Last open workout of this year. Hope you guys do great.